there can be robots turning off our light switches for us in the future.
I think that's the long-term future of what a really dynamic, decentralized grid would look like.
They're wanting us to get batteries because what's the next step? Those utilities are going to pull from those batteries.
I was actually...
Yeah!
Go for it. Go on, Spencer.
Michelle, go grab your clarinet.
I know. Gosh, I'm in a hotel right now. I don't know. Pots and pans.
Spencer Rosen in the house. What's up, Spencer?
Mr. Moose. Nice to meet you, Mr. King.
Hello, Spencer. How you doing? Please
Good.
call me Josh.
Oh, yeah, you guys never met each other yet. It's your first time, right?
I believe so, unless we ran into each other at SolarCon or on the online forums.
No, I've seen you. I think I'm on your email list.
Oh, there we go. Good to hear it.
I know you. You don't know me. We'll see.
Okay. Awesome. Well, we'll get to know each other then.
Great.
Well, if you don't know Spencer Rosen, then you're not working with Enphase enough because what's your exact title, Spencer? You're the lead representative. What's your exact title?
I'm just the regional sales manager for Enphase, but because I manage power, I've kind of gotten exposure and access to the like outside sales EPC kind of ecosystem in a way that maybe not all sales leaders at the company have. But I'm like a total home energy nerd, so I've been like, supporting different nooks and crannies of sales and the market development in different ways.
Yeah, so first I want to say thank you for coming on this podcast where we're trying to do first-time collaborations and have multiple guests on. And I know this is a special episode where we have a representative from Enphase and a representative from SolarEdge. So I wanted to thank you just even putting yourself out there to do this podcast.
Yeah, it's fun. It's super fun. Looking forward to the conversation.
I mean, look, Spencer's in the room first, so it's off to a good start here.
Told you something.
Don't tell Michelle I said that.
Is this, are we recording now or when we get settled, we're
rolling.
Okay.
We're always rolling.
Well, I have opportunity to say anything I want. The floor is mine.
Go for it. Go. It sounds like you saw an episode or two in the past, so you know how we roll. We're just diving straight into things.
Yeah. Well, I think straight out, I'd love to just answer any burning questions you have about solar technology, Enphase, and then we can kind of get into it when Michelle gets on the line.
Yeah.
What's this new battery coming out, Spencer? You want to talk about it? I know you don't want to talk about that yet.
What's the secret underground deals? No one watches this, by the way. It's just us three.
I've seen it. I don't know. I was online watching the last one. Initially, it looked like there was 20, 30 people on there. I don't know if it got up to like 100, 200, 300 views through the channel. What kind of viewership did we get last time?
It was, 3, 4 million? What was that, Josh?
27 million, I think we crossed over to.
Number one podcast on iTunes. Wow, this is exciting. Sure.
We overtook Joe Rogan.
Idea podcast. Josh, I didn't cut you off.
No, we overtook Joe Rogan for about an hour and a half for sure. Just everyone's super interested in solar sales, just way more than we thought for sure.
Yeah, I mean, batteries are the next big thing in solar, right? I am based in San Diego, so the California market is just, I can't tell you how hungry the installation community is for how are we going to make this transition to NEM 3.0? How are we going to make this big gap, bridge it? And so, Enphase, we've been working on batteries for actually originally since 2017. And the last 2 years, we've had a really great product that was really focused on backup, resilience, which was really fun from a, solar sales perspective, because people have been selling bill swaps and bill savings for years, right? Like that's a tried and true way to sell solar. But the resilience thing was different, right? It was meeting people at a place they maybe hadn't thought about solar from before, which is how do I keep the lights on? Right? How do I keep the fridge on? How do I avoid, I remember there was a story where somebody said, just give me the batteries when my wife walks out of the shower with her hair wet and the power goes out and she can't use her hair dryer, like whatever that costs to make sure the power's on when she gets out of the shower, like do that, right? So it was meeting a different need. And that was obviously, pretty interesting. Grew really fast in Texas, grew really fast in Florida, California as well with rebates. But now with NEM 3.0, it's like, everybody's going to be installing batteries in California come April 14th. We have, a next generation that our CEO has kind of talked about on our quarterly earnings call, and, more powerful, easier commissioning, better homeowner experience. Although our existing experience is pretty good. We have pretty good flexibility on the app, but just going to get better. We're all in on this space, and you're going to see a really cool kind of comprehensive platform from us.
I love it. And you're speaking my language there, Spencer. I come from a market way out over the pond in the east where NEM 3.0 happened 15 years ago.
Wow.
So although I might not sound like it, I come from the Australian market. And one thing that I always try to remind the American salespeople is that, and correct me if I'm wrong here, maybe you agree, maybe you disagree on this, but savings is not the only value here. In fact, I always like to take things just to the extreme to try to get my point across. Customers don't even need to save money with solar to see the value in it. There are people out there, increasingly so, that would actually pay a premium so that they have the backup. Now, is that going to be the only way we sell solar in the future? No, savings are still amazing. But the sooner people catch up to that is, I think, the better. Would you agree?
Yeah, first I want to welcome Michelle. Nice to see you.
Yeah, you guys starting without me? What the heck? Hey, guys.
Early bird. You can't believe, you'll never be able to respond to the things we said the first 5 minutes, ever.
Yeah, that was an exclusive conversation.
Oh, okay. At VIP.
We're not recording this or anything.
I get it.
Yeah, you're not gonna ever see it or anything. We just started rolling. Spencer just came on time, and Michelle, you're almost right on time too.
I was waiting in the lobby, so this is on you, Joe.
Oh,
wow.
I did see her there, but he
was hanging on every word, right? So focused.
That's actually true. I was locked into Spencer. Every single word he was saying, just mesmerizing.
Well, I'm really excited to have Michelle Spina here. She's what is the exact title of SolarEdge? I was
Sales Education Manager for North America. Yep.
Sales Education Manager for North America, and she is always so knowledgeable and helpful and always ready to collaborate. So, Michelle, thank you so much for being on here and doing this special podcast. I think it's the first time I've ever seen a podcast where we have a representative from Enphase and SolarEdge on the same show. So, really excited. Really appreciate you coming on and doing that.
Yeah, anytime.
Love it. And
Did you ever meet Josh King yet?
I don't think so. Not in person. Good to see you. Yeah, good to meet you.
Good to meet you as well.
He's the virtual guru in the solar industry, and he's the...
Careful with that word.
All right, expert, whatever word you want to use.
Yeah.
That chair behind you, Josh, does command, it's very, the perfect, I don't know if you chose that chair specifically for your podcast, but it's it commands that. It's almost like a king's chair, right? It's if you thought of a throne. It's
definitely not fake either. It's definitely real. I'm not in front of a green screen whatsoever.
He definitely planned it, and I think it has something to do with his last name. He's sitting on the throne. I don't know about
people. I think I brought this up before. People actually don't think my last name is King, and they think it's a solar nickname.
Yeah,
it's worked
legitimately.
out.
I'm not trying to be a king, solar king. It is actually my last name. I'll show you my birth certificate.
There's actually so many fake solar kings out there. You're a real solar king, and you're not taking advantage of it, man. Come on.
I don't know if I'm a real solar king, but my last name is certainly King.
Speaking of getting to know each other, real quick, guys, we want to make this fun and interactive and not the same old interview show and blah blah blah. So we have a little segment where we can get to know you guys a little bit better. It's called 5 Words or Less. Would you mind if we started with that?
Ooh, sure.
Less.
It's hard.
I'm gonna have Josh put a little transition and graphic up. Is that cool, Josh? After I say that?
5 words or less. All right. Let's get this rocking. We got 5 questions. You get to answer each question with 5 words or less.
Ooh.
First question, it might catch you off guard, but Spencer, 5 words or less, describe your fashion sense.
Eco chic, casual, stylish. That's 4.
Wow.
I did it in 4.
That is industry specific. That is elegant. I think that's one of my favorite answers, but we'll see what Michelle's got. Michelle, describe your fashion sense, 5 words or less.
Blazers whenever possible.
Enough? I like it. Second question, Spencer, describe your personality, 5 words or less.
Nerdy, powerful, creative, and loving.
Nice one. Do a little range there.
Those are good.
Michelle. Yeah, I think he is. Michelle, describe your personality, 5 words or less.
Ooh, I'll say warm first, welcoming, helpful, creative, hopefully inspiring.
Hopefully inspiring. Are we counting that as one or two?
I think
Hopeful
people
and
would say,
inspiring.
yeah.
Love it.
It's a hyphen. Can we make it hyphenated?
We'll have to ask the judges.
Okay.
Spencer, 3 out of 5. Next one. Favorite vacation spot and why? We're clearly getting down to the brass tacks
Now we're
questions
getting
right
into
after
it.
that here.
Wow. NYC.
Oh,
Met. Soho.
I was going for 5
Food.
vacations.
Actually, I'm gonna go another direction. NYC, museums, art, music, food.
Oh, here we go. Nice one. I like it.
That's very
Michelle.
efficient way of using words right there, Spencer.
I got the full picture. I can see Spencer in NYC just enjoying every single one of those.
I was born there. I was born there. I'm like a transplant. So going back there is very I don't know, enriching.
I was born in New York City too, bro.
Yo.
Queens.
I feel like there's 2 different types of New Yorkers on this.
Definitely.
Which part of New York are we talking about? Because let's just drill down on that.
Well, New York City considers the 5 boroughs. So you
Yep.
got Queens, Brooklyn, the Bronx, Manhattan, and Staten Island. I was born in Queens. How about you, Spencer?
I was born in Manhattan.
All right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I don't
That's-
know New York much, but from my understanding of Hollywood films, that's 2 very
It's
different
on
New
point.
Yorkers.
Yeah.
My dad grew up in the Bronx though, so I have that to edge me out a little bit.
Fair enough. Michelle, you're up. Favorite vacation spot and why?
Oh, and there's an and why. Okay. New Orleans, Louisiana. Music, soul, food.
I really want to hit New Orleans. I hear it's something else. That's
Jazz
cool.
Fest is coming up. It's the best time to go.
Love it. All right, now let's start transitioning into the rest of the podcast here with the 4th question. First up for Spencer. Spencer, why in solar? 5 words or less.
Make the world sustainable. People. I only had
5
5.
words or less. No,
You can fill in the blanks. I can use 5 and
Fair enough.
you were intuitive about the 6th and 7th word that didn't go in there.
Got it.
Fair
It worked.
enough.
It worked.
Michelle, why are you in solar? 5 words or less.
Oof. I would say my solar family and challenges.
Nice. I like it. And then to wrap it off and just to really start making you guys think here, just a small question, Spencer. Ultimate solar career goal, 5 words or less.
5 years. known as the ultimate resource.
Ooh, that's good.
I like it. Michelle, you had a few
And
seconds
that's
to
so
think about it.
open. That's like the known as the ultimate resource for any knowledge, for anything we need to know.
Anything
That
at
is,
all.
Come
The
on.
chat GPT of solar.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not that good. Chat GPT solar knowledge is not quite up to par yet. Believe me, I've asked it a few questions and it's got a bunch wrong.
yeah.
it's good for brainstorming
It's
ideas.
fun
now.
though. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's fun.
Writing emails. It's fun to use.
Michelle, ultimate solar career goal, 5 words or less.
I would say a knowledge guru on a global scale.
Nice one. That's almost like similar. No,
Yeah.
nothing even about, I guess, solar career goal there. Knowledge guru on a global scale.
In
I'll have
solar.
to compete with ChatGPT
Yeah.
eventually. That'll be a fast. Love it.
Michelle wins because she said global. She got the whole world. Spencer just focused on the United States. So Michelle
It
wins
wasn't.
that
Whoa,
one.
whoa.
It wasn't a game of win or lose.
I
think the
I
game
think-
was 5 words or less. I think we
so
both
as well.
won.
Joe's just competitive as hell.
Yeah.
Love
Seriously.
it.
Ultimate? I mean, ultimate just kind of like throws it down, right?
The secret word was global, and I managed to win. I don't know.
Competition is starting already. Joe, you've thrown the
I
jet
know.
fuel onto the fire here.
Thought this would be fun.
We want to have a competitor, but we're not talking about debating. We just want to have fun conversation. And we are going to get into a little tech conversation because I know you guys enjoy talking about tech. So it's not like it's a job talking about it. And Josh, would you mind if I start to get into it?
Sure. This was a request by our co-host here, Mr. Joe Moose. How do we frame this conversation? So it would be good for maybe we start with Michelle because we've started with Spencer up to this point. LFP and NMC. Give us a lowdown, Michelle, of what's going on here. Why is it important for whether it's sales reps, homeowners, installers? What's the differences, the pros, the cons? I'm sure maybe Spencer might have some other opinions. I want to hear both of them. So let's start off with Michelle. What's the lowdown of LFP and NMC battery
Yeah, sure.
structures?
Yeah, so I mean, we look at all batteries in the solar space lithium ion, right? So those are kind of squared away, same. The actual chemistry in terms of LFP versus NMC is really only about the cathode coating in that battery, which is a very small component within the battery. For us, we may go to an LFP battery at some point. Both chemical makeups have been proven in the industry to be successful. For us, it's really about making sure we have the right safety standards, and that's our priority, is making sure that the batteries are safe, they're certified, UL 9540A certification, and really it's about being able to get the resources on a chemical makeup that we need. We went NMC first just because we bought Kokum, which is a battery manufacturer that has been in very large-scale batteries for a long time. They were very well equipped with NMC batteries, and it's been a proven safe and reliable source. But we're looking at other chemistries as well. Really, our goal is safety and availability. We want to make sure we supply those batteries out in the market as we need to.
Love it. That's a very open answer. I thought there was going to be some defending on one side or the other.
I'm not looking to fight here today, Josh. Sorry.
We're not,
Not yet.
Spencer,
I'm just kidding.
Spencer might have different opinions, but who knows? No, we're not competing here. NMC LFP, Spencer. What are your takes on here? And again, why is it important? Is it just a matter of resource sourcing? Is there any differentiation on how these things can be used, the efficiency?
Enphase, like our focus as a company is reliability and durability, right? Like that's what we're focused on. Like having a system that will work as long as possible, as reliably as possible. And I think through our analysis, we saw that LFP was the best chemistry for that. And there's some articles from the DOE that back that up. It doesn't mean other chemistries aren't like great and safe and, and don't last a long time. We just, I think through our research found that, LFP was the safest and longest lasting chemistry. And so that's the way we went. I mean, one thing I do say sometimes is that Tesla, who was the original NMC battery, right? And they really kind of innovated in the battery space early on, for better or worse. Worse because they kind of undercut the market right out of the gate, right? Tesla's margin in solar and batteries is like 3%. And that's not really sustainable for an industry. So, I'd say that's kind of what's a negative. Better was, kind of created consumer demand and opened up, a lot of channels that are being used today, whether it's permitting or installation, right? Getting capacity. So those were all benefits. But their original NMC battery came from their car, right? And NMC batteries were designed to be, lightweight, high powered, which for a home storage system is not super, super important, right? You don't really need a lightweight battery. It's hanging on the wall or on the floor. High power in terms of like compared to what a car needs to what a home needs, not really super relevant. That's more related to the inverter power. So, the benefits of LFP is longer lasting chemistry. That F in LFP stands for iron, and that actually creates the substrate, the kind of frame that holds the electrons that move back and forth. And that's just a more rigid, heavier substrate that lasts longer, is more stable. So that's why we chose that route. And the good news, and sometimes I say this if somebody's, considering Enphase or Tesla, even Tesla, when they had their battery day like 2 years ago and talked about their new, more innovative, longer lasting, higher cycle battery, that's LFP. So they are going to LFP. And, I think that's where we kind of started. So I think we're pretty happy with that chemistry. Now, who knows what kind of like new air nano chemistry comes out that's like super amazing and long lasting. But for now, I think that's the chemistry we're focused on.
I love it. I got one more tech question, then I'll pass it off to Joe here. You mentioned Tesla. One thing that I've seen, especially over the past 10 years in solar, is an increase in integrated systems. So obviously batteries and inverters are very evident at this point. I guess, Michelle, pointing to you, do you think that's going to continue? Are we going to see more things getting thrown into an integrated system that works better together? Is it going to be a segregation of tools that integrate, or what do you see happening here? Are we eventually just going to have a all-in-one box that does absolutely everything for every single use case, regardless of the requirements?
Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome. I think we're definitely going to a smart home solution much more than solar. Batteries, we already know what's happening in California, but this is happening in Indiana too right now, the Carolinas. Like, net metering is going to be a thing of the past. Batteries are not going away. But also, we're coming out with things like load controllers, the ability to actually export that battery when it's advantageous for the homeowner is going to be super important. So, when I started selling solar 13 years ago, it's like we were selling it to doomsday preppers, and now you're running into homeowners that are telling you how solar works. It's like, here, let me tell you my smart energy solutions in my house. And so being the one to offer them, a solution that has everything is, I think, the next step. EV charging that integrates and works with solar, batteries with load management, that type of thing, I think is just, it's just the beginning for those things.
Love it. What do you reckon, Spencer?
Yeah, I mean, I second what Michelle said. A whole home energy management system is more important now than ever, right? When you're looking at an environment like a self-consumption environment like a NEM 3.0, it doesn't just matter what you produce, right? It matters what you use and when you're using it and when you're discharging energy and when you're charging your car. Like, all of those things can have a big impact on customer value and customer savings. So, you know, whether the industry kind of focuses on a single platform like an Apple, where everything is kind of in one ecosystem, or whether there's more of a plug and play based platform, I mean, we'll see. I think the challenges with communication between different devices and different manufacturers and warranties and troubleshooting, I think points us in a direction of more of a full integration. But that doesn't mean there's not space to play, right? Like Span enabled their panel to work with Enphase, right? And there's no direct, relationship, but it provides some cool functionality. And in certain scenarios, I think that might make a lot of sense. But I think as a core kind of product offering, you're going to see Enphase focus on, providing a comprehensive system, and you may see other manufacturers kind of move in that direction as well.
Yeah, if I can just
go ahead, Michelle.
No, just one more thing. I mean, I agree with that too, in that sometimes partnering with products that are already experts in that, like Span. I mean, we work with Span as well. It's like, is it a solution where we want to manufacture it, or work with a company that already works with in that game, in that space? And so I think that's the as a manufacturer, the decisions we all have to make is like, are we going to make it ourselves, or are we going to partner with one so that we can get out to market quickly on something that is really in high demand?
Yeah.
I love that. And, my question is, do you think the utilities are, this is how I'm thinking about it, do you think utilities are shooting themselves in the foot by doing this NEM 3.0, where you're forcing these battery companies to move this technology even faster, or do you think it's actually not doing anything?
So, Spencer, do you mind if I take that first?
Take it, yeah, go for it.
So,
I'm thinking on the answer. So
it's actually a really interesting trajectory that we see where solar started and where it's gone, and then where batteries have started and where they've gone. So, it started in Germany, where solar kind of really was the advent of it. Then we moved to kind of Hawaii, California, East Coast, Midwest. Same trajectory for batteries. Germany has all batteries now. Hawaii, all batteries. California, all batteries. And what we see is, the more solar we're all putting on the grid, the more strained that grid becomes. And they can't manage that exported solar onto the grid. They can't sustain it. So they're wanting us to get batteries because what's the next step? Those utilities are going to pull from those batteries, right? So if you can't beat them, join them. That's called demand response. We have a lot of incentives in states where the utility is actually leveraging those homeowner batteries, paying them for an incentive in order for them to pull from them. And so that's what we see. So, I think that's, if I were to talk for the utility at this point, we're all pissed off about California and that happening. But I think if I was a utility company, that's my strategy, is I want to start getting a bunch of batteries in the market so I can pull from them in demand response.
Interesting. Do you think utilities are going to be the ones, for example, in Australia, the largest utilities and retailers started offering solar? There was always theories as to why they did it, whether it's pulling, whether it's controlling the market. Their pricing was ridiculously low. There's no way they could profit from it. Do you think we're going to start seeing a lot more retailers and utilities move into the solar retail game and the battery game across the U.S. so that they have more control over where those batteries go and the contracts that customers sign when they install them?
I'm 50-50 on that one. Spencer, what do you think? Have you seen anything on that?
I think utilities typically focus on utility scale projects.
Yeah.
I think, large solar farms, large battery storage systems, those are going to become more and more ubiquitous. A lot of solar people sell against the utilities, right? Kill the bill was like a common sales training, and, selling and creating a common enemy can often engage customers in a really unique way. I'm like, not anti, but I'm not anti, right? So, I'm not anti-utilities. Like, I have compassion for the fact that like if you've seen the duck curve, there's overproduction in the daytime. The value of solar energy during the daytime is going down, down, down because it's a simple supply and demand equation. And I don't think there's like a master puppeteer who's like trying to pull the strings. I more believe that they're a business. They have business interests. They're trying to be profitable and successful. They are highly regulated, right? So they can't just do whatever they want. Basically, anything they do has to be approved by the PUC and the California Energy Commission. And, I think that they're just trying to keep up. I think they're just trying to keep up. I think the solar market hit them faster than they could have prepared for. And they're trying to manage risk. And they are hedging with electrification. The benefit to utilities and to all of us are really electric vehicles, right? And electrification. Because if you take, gas that we basically fought wars for and obviously have environmental impacts, and you bring that into a US-based, like clean commodity that we have, like that's good for everybody. So utilities are really pro EVs, and I think at least in the next 5 to 10 years, that may offset the solar kind of supply that's coming from other places in their own production. Now, the other thing about utilities that's super interesting is technically, although utilities do sometimes invest in these large power plants, technically utilities really own the highways. They don't own the cars, right? So a lot of the money that utilities make on customer kind of payments comes from transmission, right? So as long as there's like a transmission component to bills, I think they're going to be okay. I don't think they're going to go anywhere. And I think that there's still going to be a need for kind of utilities. And if we can create a more interactive grid where things are being bought and sold in real time based on demand and supply and based on, and these signals are being fed into our energy systems and our energy systems are smart enough to interact with them, we could have a market where everybody wins, right? Where utilities have, profitability, where homeowners who can invest in, more dynamic systems have an advantage, where people who are early adopters, right, have a real advantage, and, more to see. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't think there's a master puppeteer. I think utilities are just kind of trying to catch up with what's happening, and I think the next natural stage was, require storage. Otherwise, they're stuck with supplying a ton of energy from 4 to 9 and taking it during the daytime where they have nowhere to put it. So I think it's the right step for the industry, although it's obviously challenging, and I would have loved a longer glide path. A couple of years would have been nice, but we'll figure it out. It's not going to be a hard landing. I think it'll just be a little kind of bump in the road that we'll get past pretty soon.
Yeah, and hopefully it means more grid stability, more grid stability. I won't be buying solar from Edison, though, mark my words. That won't be happening anytime soon.
Not to belabor the point, do you think it's going to go across the country? Like California is just the beginning and this is going to happen everywhere?
Mm-hmm. I'm in Texas right now. I did a big training today in Texas. My prediction is it happening in Texas. Hate to say it, but I think it might happen in Texas next.
Well, let's change the somber mood and switch it up here.
It's not a bad thing. Hey, we have the solution, right?
I was enjoying the conversation, Joe. I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit nerdy. But one thing before we move on, I think both of you sort of hinted at it. Michelle, you're speaking about pulling energy from batteries, whether that's utility or potentially neighbors. And then also, Spencer, you mentioned something similar. And I'm sorry if I use this word too much, but for those that are watching, I think certainly there is a future in which we have a decentralized grid, where we're in and out, where we're not relying on a centralized power source. What could that look like, right? Is it that we're using the blockchain? Are we using crypto? How does the mechanism work? Could you guys provide some sort of insight onto that? And what's the benefits of it compared to the current structure?
Do you want to start with that one,
Go
Michelle?
ahead, Spencer. That's a tough one.
I think there's two major components to that world. And the first is resilience, and the second is savings. Now, resilience, we call a smaller grid a microgrid, right? That's kind of become a industry, talking point, so to speak. And, microgrid today mostly are homes, right? You have your automatic transfer switch or your microgrid interconnection device open, right? Meaning you disconnect from the grid, and now you have your solar, your batteries, the home loads, maybe even a generator, all in this little baby microgrid. A microgrid doesn't have to be a single home, right? It could be a block or a neighborhood. Microgrids, originally, I'm in San Diego, UCSD has a huge microgrid for the whole campus, where they have their own generator and their own kind of natural gas, kind of super efficient generator on site, and they can power the whole campus, I think, disconnected from the utility. So I think on the resilience side, which I think was that hand or this hand, I don't know which one I said was resilient. Let's just say it was that one. On the resilience side, we're going to have multiple layers of resilience, which creates a more resilient, excuse my French, grid overall, right? Because you don't have, a single point of failure where, if the utility goes down or the grid goes down, everything stops working, right? So I think on that's going to be one part of that future. And the second part is savings. And that's more of that dynamic market, buying and selling on the spot. Mm-hmm. And so how will that work? It might be blockchain enabled, but I think ultimately whoever's accounting for the electrons that are being sent to the home and sent from the home, there's going to be some price signal, right, that's public, and that price signal will basically have some kind of ledger that says, hey, I sold energy just like on the stock market at this price, and I sold this much over this amount of time. A lot of calculus there, right? So I don't envy the person that has to create that math equation, but once it's set up in an algorithm and as part of a platform, people can exchange, buy and sell energy. So I think we're going there. I don't think it's going to be the next year or two, but I think that's the long-term future of what a really dynamic, decentralized grid would look like.
And that must increase the efficiency of transmission substantially as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll jump on this one too. One of the big challenges that we have in some local markets is somebody wants to add a large solar system or a large battery system or charge an EV or two EVs or three EVs, and you got transformer limitations, right, at the local level. So transformer upgrades are super expensive and take time. And so, yeah, to your point, the grid can't sustain, every home with two EVs, and an electric heat pump and, electric heat pump water heater in the current state. So you kind of have to create a more dynamic environment where you're accounting for all these limitations. I think it's a great point.
I could go on for days, but I fear we're going to get a bit too nerdy. So, Joe, you got something?
My first word was nerd. I threw out nerd. That was the first one. So, that was a warning.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's interesting though, at least, not get too technical.
For sure. Yeah, to keep it, a little bit more simple. I mean, the virtual power plant concept is blowing up. Community solar is something that is so much bigger now than it was even 5 years ago. And a virtual power plant really is, a cloud-based system that aggregates different electricity sources and will distribute that, just like Spencer said, based on some sort of price that you're kind of trading on a stock market piece. To me, what I'm hopeful of is that it changes the infrastructure we're dealing with today in terms of the fact that we're still using an infrastructure that is hundreds of years old, that is causing fires in states and things like that. Because I'm on Spencer's side as well in terms of, I don't think the utility is the enemy, but they're not developing fast enough. And so what I hope is that we all live in a time where we don't have these power lines. It would be awesome. It would be awesome if we didn't have to deal with that. If that didn't, in a hurricane, they didn't all fall down and cause extreme damage. And so I think that we have to get there because extreme weather is not getting much better. The infrastructure is not getting much better. And so to me, that's what I'm seeing in the future. But to Spencer's point, yeah, it's not a couple of years from now, but we might see small scale things like that come out in the next couple of years. If we can get a community to band together on that front, or a state, for example, to band together on that front, it might be different. So we might see some smaller scale stuff, not kind of nationwide.
I mean, to Michelle's point, whoever said, wow, those are some beautiful power lines.
Yeah.
I'm sure when they first got it up there, they thought it was
True.
a marvel of technology.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've looked at like different houses, like, and when there's power line, I'm like, oh man, power lines. Wow, that just ruins the view. It ruins the whole neighborhood. Creates a whole different feel. So I mean, there's a ton of benefits to moving to a more distributed grid.
Spencer, so it's about what you compare it to. So imagine the Thomas Edison power lines back in the day. How much better are the lines compared to that?
Not
Right?
much better.
Yeah.
Oh,
Honestly, that's the problem.
Yeah.
like too similar to each other. So I'm gonna dumb it down a little bit. I still want to talk a little bit technical, and I promise we're gonna get a little more fun in a bit. But I just had a couple of questions. I want to keep it simple, because at the end of the day, the basics of the inverter technology is that it converts electricity from DC to AC. Like that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. But that means that you're losing some electricity in that conversion, right? So not SolarEdge or Enphase specific, but of course I'm sure you're gonna bring it up. But like, talk about that. Talk about the efficiency and that loss of electricity and how that actual conversion works. If you don't mind for a bit. Michelle,
Sure.
one go first.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I sold both products, and I always start with this with reps too. It's like, there's a reason why Enphase and SolarEdge are the top of the market. We have the best technology out there. And so I'll start with that because I think both are absolutely great products. There's a reason why I came to SolarEdge though. I think DC technology, keeping it in DC means less conversions for battery systems. And in terms of having an inverter, that inverter is the critical point of the system. It has the most technology associated with it. We, did that technology on purpose because we want one brain. We want one brain to be able to convert at one central location. So we really just harvest the energy on the roof. I think everybody here knows that we have optimizers. So we're not a string inverter, but we have optimizers, which is helping us on the roof to harvest that energy. But we want to convert at one location because it is limiting that energy loss. So we have a 99% efficiency on our inverters, and so that's what we focus on in terms of efficiency. Less conversions is what we want.
I love it. What do you say, Spencer?
I think each technology has kind of innovated to a different level, right? So, the original technology was a central inverter, which was just super limiting in terms of performance, in terms of reliability, in terms of longevity. And, the microinverter was kind of the first distributed architecture that allowed the panel by panel production. And SolarEdge, I can't really speak to their technology. They're best kind of positioned to talk to their technology, but they came out with their central inverter and optimizer. I think what Enphase focuses on is a few things. We focus on real world performance, and when we say real world performance, the spec sheet will say what the spec sheet says in terms of percentages, but we found that by having fully independent panel by panel conversion, we get the really, really great performance at all angles, all system sizes, all roof pitches, all shading configurations. And so that's really led to, a major increase in efficiency for the overall system, right? And the industry overall, right? Because we actually took solar panels and an installation and improved the throughput of those 25% when we got panel by panel output. And that was a big step forward for the whole industry. In terms of conversion and whether, the DC architecture is best or the AC architecture is best, you can make an argument for either one. I think what we really like about the AC architecture is we really like the safety factor of it, because if you look at your home right now, it was wired AC like for a reason initially, right? And that had to do with the fact that AC power is just it's a little bit safer. And it's the same power that we run through your home, basically, that you have running to your dishwasher or your, heater, right? It's the same AC power that you already have wires in the wall. And when you have AC architecture, it makes it very, very easy to add different products to the same bus bar. Now, this is getting a little bit technical, but what I mean by that is if you have batteries producing energy, and then you have solar producing energy, and then you have a generator producing energy or an EV bidirectional producing energy, and they're all coming into the same bus bar. With AC, you can add all those together to get power. And it kind of, to Josh's point, you look at the utility grid, the grid isn't built on one, generating device that just serves a specific community, and then another utility that serves another community. The grid is built where, you got all these different utilities and you have a grid. And we think of our distributed architecture the same way, as a grid of technologies, a grid of brains that can really provide the most resilient, safe, and flexible solution for homeowners.
AC versus DC. I have to say, my back in the day, I don't know if I coined this, but about 8-9 years ago, I came up with, well, I didn't come, maybe I heard it somewhere. I'd always explain how inverters work to customers. I'd say, do you know the band AC/DC? Okay, we just swap them around. That's it. I'm pretty sure every solar sales rep eventually comes up with that term. That's as simple as it needs to be on customer's end.
I like it.
Love it. Speaking of AC, DC, different system configuration, we were talking about, I love that term, Michelle, virtual grids, decentralized blockchain over here, whatever you want to call it. What does, and we sort of mentioned this already, but I'm actually interested to see if you guys have differing opinions on this. What does a system configuration look like in 20 years, 30 years? Someone goes solar. What does it look like? Is it different from now?
When Josh first wrote this question, he told me, I was like, 20, 30 years from now, we might have aliens visiting the planet. We don't have no idea what's going to be 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Let's
go crazy. Let's go crazy.
I think that system configuration, I think to Spencer's point, trying to limit the strain on the main service panel, trying to put as much as we can on the house without a ton of electrical upgrades, that type of thing is probably gonna, right now is something we're looking at, and then also probably in the future, because we're gonna put more stuff on that. Solar configuration, I don't think we're ever gonna get away from module level power electronics. That's kind of been something that, which is microinverters and optimizers are both module level power electronics. Those are something that has been proven to say, okay, this is the route to go. We want these modules to all work independently from one another, right? But I think it's more the battery. 20 to 30 years from now, I'm hopeful in thinking that the battery is going to be this size, and not 400 pounds, 268 pounds to be precise, if it's a SolarEdge battery. But I think that because we're moving into the battery space so heavily, that's where I see the technology going in terms of where all of the brain power is right now. Is like, we want to make this battery the most efficient, the smallest? How can we make it more powerful? And I think that that's where people's mindset is right now in terms of solar.
So module-specific production, and then battery is going to be the biggest change.
Yeah, and I don't know if we can get into larger modules at this point. People are getting into 550, 600 watt modules on a residential space. They're enormous. Like, I don't even know how you get them on the roof at this point. So maybe it's smaller modules but higher power. We might see that, hopefully. But I think the battery piece and that technology, I would assume in 30 years is going to shift substantially.
We're going to rewind this in 30 years, Michelle. We're going to find out if it's true. Okay?
Hopefully I'm that global expert, by then.
Yes.
I'll be taking my call from New York. I think it's a great question. It's a question that kind of makes you think a little differently than we do today. I think the fundamental change that will happen, and is already starting to happen, is that software will rule the world. You look at the iPhone, and one of the things that was really interesting to me when I first came on at Enphase is I talked about hardware with our CEO. I actually interviewed with our CEO, and he said, no, don't think about it like hardware. Think of it as software-enabled hardware. So, you think of the iPhone, and this is just a piece of hardware, but what is the software that runs on top of this hardware enable, right? And, you compare this to the BlackBerry, right? The BlackBerry had a keyboard that was hard-coded in plastic. And now the user interface can dynamically change based on the application. So I think the configuration of the future is going to have a lot of flexibility based on the software that's running. And we're going to see dynamic hardware components, EVs that have batteries, maybe large batteries in the home, maybe distributed batteries in the home, some combination of those which interact in a software environment to provide the optimal energy system for the homeowner experience. I also think we're going to see what you talked about earlier, Josh, which is I think we're going to see microgrids at many levels, and we're going to see interaction at the home level on a software basis. We're going to see interaction at the community level on a software basis, and we're going to see interaction at more of a regional and national level. If there was a gentleman, I think it was Richard Feynman, who drew the world connected with utilities across the world, like connected as part of the whole world energy system. And there's some beauty in thinking about the the desert in Africa feeding power to Europe or to New York, and then kind of converting different sources of major transmission as the Earth spins. So I think we're going to see software ruled in the world, which it already kind of does, and I think we're going to see multiple levels of interaction on system configurations. And then the last thing I'll just say that I hope happens is I think we'll eventually in 30 years I think we'll break through the BIPV limit that we've had. I think that, even though I think a solar system with black on black panels with black rails, low profile to the roof can look really, really slick. I think that, if all systems were as beautiful as some of the roofs out there, I think there's value there. And the cost premium is just not even close, right? So I don't think that's going to happen in the next 5 years, probably not in the next 10 years. But if you look out 20 or 30 years, is there a fully 3D printed solar panel that can be made with glass, that looks like a tile, that installs like a full solar panel but can be integrated in a beautiful way, I think that'll be part of the future as well.
Man, those are some in-depth answers. I was just gonna say they're probably come out some paint that's solar panel coating. You can just paint everything, and everything is gonna be coated everywhere. That's the world I see in 30 years.
I mean, it could happen. That'd be great. Well, would it be great though? We might not need a solar sales force.
Yeah, that's the
Just
goal.
paint
baby.
our walls. I don't know.
That's the goal. We get everybody the solar they need. That's our goal, really, at the end of the day, right? So I got one last question, and Josh is going to add a little bit to it. But it comes down to like SolarEdge. Like in the solar industry, there's panels, lots of different options. There's installers, lots of different options. There's finance companies, lots of different options, right? But when it comes to inverters, there's really the two main ones, right? SolarEdge and Enphase. SolarEdge and Enphase, and that's like, oh, you use SolarEdge or you Enphase? Like it's always those two. So this is more about a duopoly. Like you two, why is it SolarEdge and Enphase and everybody else is second? Michelle, you want to go first?
And just to throw something in there, so 10 years in a very, very different market in Australia, and still the phases of manufacture, the ups and downs, the customer perception, the sales rep perception, the new technologies that came. One thing that I saw when I first came to the U.S. market is a drastically smaller amount of modules, right? I was telling to Joe a year or two ago, it was like LG panels. It's all everyone is installing. Now we have more local or domestically or overseas modules breaking through, which I think is cool. I like it. There's obviously pros and cons to that, but inverters. I know SolarEdge. I've known SolarEdge and Enphase for many years. In Australia, though, we have 30 different inverters, and everyone's using different ones at every single time. It's good to have competition, but it also allows some inverters to come in that aren't quite up to snuff. It also requires our installers to come out for truck rolls and repairs, and there's so many different types of inverters and different mechanisms that they have to learn and different things that could go wrong with everything. There's pros and cons to everything. What do you guys see the future of? Do you think we're not quite there yet? Do you think SolarEdge and Enphase they're just like Michelle, I think you mentioned, it's just the best tech right now, the best logistics, the best supplies. Why would you use any other inverter? Why is it right now that there's two big brand names and everyone prefers either or?
Yeah, well, I think that, I mean, SolarEdge is global. We're all over as well. And, Europe is booming right now. I do a lot of training in Europe as well. And you're totally right. I mean, inverters, there's multiple inverter types in Europe that are not here. And I think, and by the way, in North America, there's been a lot of inverter types as well, kind of come and go. Some of them are still out there, but they're not as big. I think, and I don't mean to speak for both of us on this, but I would say for both of us, we have both innovated above and beyond what just solar. Like there has been other things that we've gone into, and so we are building, at SolarEdge, building an ecosystem of products. We have proven to be that brand name that is great at inverters and optimizers. A lot of times when installers become familiar with those technologies, that's what they're trained on. That's what they keep going, as long as that manufacturer is still remaining consistent and in the marketplace. And so I think that here in North America, we have seen other inverters come into this space and just not succeed. There are still string inverters on the market. I mean, you can get residential string inverters. It's just in terms of efficiency gain, production, those module level power electronics are the way to go, and SolarEdge and Enphase are the names in those spaces.
Yeah, I think Michelle made a few really good points there. You look at a lot of the original inverter manufacturers came from Europe. SMA being, the big one out of Germany, and I think there was kind of like a homegrown, let's use our own product out of the gate there, and they took a lot of market share. They're now losing a lot of that market share to SolarEdge and Enphase, and in the U.S. The innovation of module level power electronics was so valuable because the cost of energy was so high. and the consumer expectations were so high. I don't know about the other, net metering programs, but I know in California, or even the incentive programs, but I know in California we had the CSI, right? And that rebate really helped drive the industry. And one of the things that was really interesting about that rebate is they had warranty requirements. And those warranty requirements were higher than a lot of the basic industry warranties at that time. And they required manufacturers to improve their quality and increase their warranties. And if you think about that from a kind of like product innovation standpoint, that raised the bar in terms of quality for the whole industry and length of warranty. So I think that we have a higher price for energy, which creates more of a tolerance for a premium product that can produce more savings over a 25-year period. And so upfront, low cost systems that maybe don't have as long of a lifespan in other countries are not as much a part of a investment ecosystem. At this point, the thing that's really interesting is that we have so much data and we have such logistics capabilities in terms of manufacturing, supporting an RMA if it's needed, customer support. It's like a pretty big engine to support the US solar market. And so it's just hard for people to catch up. Like, I know Enphase, we process, last I heard, more data on a daily basis than Twitter. So all that data and the iterative kind of improvements of our process through, for us now, eight generations. I know, SolarEdge has had a handful of generations. I'm sure Michelle could talk to that as well. But, we've really improved our product over time. And so it's just, it's like, who's going to catch up with Google? Maybe Chat GDP, but we haven't seen it yet in the inverter space. And of course, we're always looking and keeping our eye out for other, contenders who might really impact the market. But I think there's a real head start. And even with Chat GDP providing so much value to the market, Google's not going anywhere, right? Like, Google's still going to have a very, very strong position in the world of the web. So I think, that head start can go a long way.
I mean, it makes complete sense, right? You have a market where margins are very healthy, but regulation and minimum requirement is also very high. So the sales rep and the customer can afford to get premium without breaking the bank and also horribly negatively affecting savings. And you have low costs in Australia. We're flooded with economic brands, if you will, which are nowhere close to the price points of premium products. So obviously the sales guys who are barely scraping together commissions and customers who are trying to get the absolute lowest, best deal are going for them. But in the US, it's almost like it's a positive environment where everyone is almost, manufacturers are enforced to provide a premium product, but customers and sales reps are also incentivized because of whether it's in, state or federal rebates or incentives on top of very high utility costs. We can actually afford it.
Yeah.
So that's
Totally.
interesting. That's a good point.
And that's funded R&D, right, for our company, and innovation and development.
America.
Yes. So it's been a great it's been a phenomenal place to get positioned at this stage of the industry growth. And with that kind of foundation, we're excited for the next 5-10 years and to see what kind of leadership can be developed in the energy space, because it is still just the beginning.
Man, and if Elon Musk knew that Enphase has more data than Twitter, he might have.
It's the last I heard. I haven't checked Twitter's data, but I remember we did that comparison 5-10 years ago, and it was like that was a meaningful stat for us, right? We have all those, I think it's 3 million systems right now. Sorry, I don't know that exact stat, but it's a lot of systems. And it's 30 million microinverters plus now worldwide. So each one of those providing, data every 5 minutes, to the cloud. It's a lot of data. It's a lot of information, and it's it's in the customer's app, right? They're to the beginning of time they can see what their system produced. It's an amazing technology.
You want to add anything, Michelle?
Yeah, I would just say same on this side. Like our company is actually based in Israel, and our software people and our engineers are actually, they started in the Israeli military. So that type of tracking and that type of really close, careful consideration to monitoring on a huge scale. Just like Spencer said, it's only something that somebody that's very well established can do. And so, yeah, some of these other companies, just didn't get there, but would totally agree to the space on lower cost options. We see that in Europe a lot. Is we're coming up against a lot of lower cost options over there too, and we're not hitting that same thing here in North America because we don't need to.
I love it. Joe, can I ask one more technical question before we get into the fun?
All right, one more technical.
This isn't the fun. For me, this is the fun part. I mean,
it's about to
it
get
gets funner than this. I mean,
The reason I really want to ask this question is because, Joe, I really doubt that we're going to have anyone on. We haven't yet that could entertain this question, and I've had it on my list for like a few weeks now. The question, and I want to frame it more to our conversation, but the pure question that I've had on my list is, how is AI going to interact with the industry? So maybe I'm just talking out loud, but I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. We've talked about distributed systems. We've talked about how system configuration might change. We've talked about all the data that we're getting. And we've also talked about home, like general home, just home, whatever that looks like, home tech. It's so integratable, everything with each other. Could we envision a future where not only is AI, obviously, for example, the virtual distribution systems, helping with those algorithms, not only helping with the data that we're getting from all these different manufacturers and system outputs and inputs out there, but also helping automate customers' usage in their home, right? So diverting or creating not an enforced schedule, but putting energy where it needs to go, at what time it needs to go to be as efficient as possible. Decrease usage on peak demand times, increase storage during the times at which system is producing, and we have the highest transfer efficiency. Could that be a thing? Is that too dystopian? Where what's the name of Amazon's thing? Siri or Alexa is just controlling everything, every single thing that has anything to do with power in the home. It's automating absolutely everything. It's maybe sold as one thing. Maybe it's a modular system that creates components. It's just completely integrated.
Simply, Josh wants to know, is there going to be robots turning off our light switches for us in the future?
Well, think about it though. If you see the customer's usage profile, and maybe lights are an easy one. What if you know that you cooked a steak dinner every night at 5:30 p.m. so it warms the oven for you to maximize your efficiency?
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like we're already almost there. Yeah. I don't know if, I guess my question would be, is that what consumers want? Do consumers want that heavy control that's automated, or is it creepy? I think that's the fine line that we kind of tackle, but I think that we're already kind of doing stuff like that where we're creating automatic profiles. What we want to do is build stuff within the app that allows profiles to make the decisions for homeowners on when to use their battery, when to shut off heavy loads automatically, that type of thing. I think that's there. And I don't know if, I think that going past that is pretty simple, like what you're saying. I think that creating that smart energy home where things are automatically turning on and off is pretty simple, but I just don't know if homeowners want that. I mean, the other day I was doing a training, I had an Alexa in my room, and it said, hey, what do you want or whatever, because I said Alexa on accident. And on the training I said, sorry everybody, my Alexa's just really sensitive. And she actually said, thanks for the feedback, like right after. So if that's not creepy enough, I don't want my house to warm the oven for me. But maybe that's homeowners want that. I think it'd be pretty easy to get there.
It's so creepy when you're talking and then Alexa answers the question for you. You're like, whoa. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess if it's done properly, you don't really feel it. But then there's the barrier between things that are enforced For example, we used to have a team that would go out and create usage schedules for all our customers and to increase self-consumption. If that's enforced, then maybe the customer, okay, I have to make some changes. But if the system that we're talking about, the Alexa, says, oh, they do actually have a very solid pattern of cooking dinner at exactly this time every single night, then I guess it wouldn't feel like it's enforced because it's just, that's what you already do.
Right.
You know? But maybe, of course, I'm sure people would have issues with it. I don't want to have to cook dinner at 5:30.
Is that something you would want? Do you want that for your house? Would you be a customer?
I think if I had a pattern that I did every single night, and it was so predictable that if I walked up to my oven, just naturally it turned on at the exact time, maybe. But I think we'd get used to it as well, right? A few generations later, if we don't have that, it's like, wait, I have to turn my lights on. I have to get the oven. You know, it's
Yeah.
Yeah. I love this question. I think that there's a few layers here, right? I know Joe, I'm actually super inspired by some of the online marketing stuff that Joe has been doing. And, you know, if you're tracking the online marketing world and OpenAI, I mean, there's already major innovations that are happening in terms of just generating content, connecting, understanding what kind of content's connecting. So I think you're going to see it in the solar marketing space like yesterday. The other space that's really interesting, I think, is solar design. You know, when you look at NEM 3.0, for example, what's the optimal solar system size in relationship to battery size based on the customer's load profile?
Oh, I love this. This is a great.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, I have some initial back of the envelope math I've been playing with, and, you know, more will be revealed. But there's like, you know, a lot of possibilities there, right? And the computational power needed to run through those and choose the best one for the customer is beyond the smartest solar guy, but really easy for a high-powered computer if given the right inputs. So I think we're going to see a lot of optimization. And then I think in terms of the operation as well, there's things like, imagine you're heading into the export period in NEM 3.0, we're getting the most value for your credits, right? And the first hour you get $2.50, right? And the next hour you get $3. Now your battery is so big, you can't dump it all at the $3 amount. But how much of it do you want to dump at that first hour? That's $2.50, right? Like having the usage pattern based on weather, based on other factors, taking that together and making that decision to optimize cost. I mean, that's hidden from the customer view. They won't know a thing, right? But that type of thing, I think, is going to really add value to the customer's savings. And one more fun example that I'll share with you, Joshua, is just pre-cooling, right? Like imagine, you know, you got this kind of weather pattern outside. You're about to enter the most expensive rate period. You know, how low do you want to turn your thermostat so that you get your house cooler and you've used that extra energy before energy gets expensive? So I think we're already seeing some of the interaction between smart home, utility time of use rate structures, and it's only going to continue more and more. Everything that I said are the things that people are already thinking about. It's the stuff that people haven't thought about that I think is super interesting. I'll share one more fun article that I read on Canary Media today about a company that's aggregating electric water heaters in Hawaii. And they're basically taking extra solar production and using it to heat up water heaters. So the energy's got a place to go. And they're turning off water heaters. Water heaters you can turn off for an hour and maybe you lose 3 degrees of temperature. So there's not a big impact. So they're aggregating that from a load management standpoint. And so, I mean, the world is very, very dynamic, lots of opportunities. Getting these systems to start working together and play together is a big lift for the industry. And a lot of, I'm not sure if you ever heard a guy named Emery Lovins, but he has a really positive and popular phrase called negawatts. Right, a negawatt is a negative megawatt, right? So it's reducing load on the grid is the same as providing it, right? So through efficiency, through time of use shifting, I think AI is going to be an instrumental component there. And the companies that can first, I'll share one more thing, sorry, because I have nerded out on this a little bit.
Keep going.
Right, AI, right? Basically, there's a really cool podcast I listened to called All In.
Pulse podcast.
That
yes.
too. But the All In podcast, it's like 4 guys from Silicon Valley.
Sure.
They talk about
It's really cool.
all types of innovation, and they talk about how AI is going to converge. Like Google's AI and OpenAI and Apple AI, it's all going to be coming to the same point in terms of how the engine thinks about things and works through issues, and that the differentiation is going to be based on what data and what questions and inputs you feed to the AI.
Sure.
So to SolarEdge and Enphase's credit, having all that data, right, and being able to use that data to teach an AI what to look for and how to interact, I think it's going to really provide a lot of value to the end user and the market overall. So it's exciting. It's super exciting.
The data is a massive piece to it. We're training a few models right now for some front end sales things that we're applying, and that's it. You without the data, you're not going to get an accurate model. And maybe to wrap up the AI thing, I think just if we look back in 20, 30 years, maybe, let alone more, and we think back that, we were actually once responsible for manually keeping track of our usage or system designs, I think it'll just be like phenomenally old school. It'll be even so much far past Velcro versus shoelace, or whatever the stereotypical example is. And the efficiency, just imagine the increase of an efficiency alone is going to be amazing. I love it.
Any final thoughts, Michelle?
No, I mean, I agree. Just to summarize it, we're right around the corner with that AI stuff. I mean, the being able to leverage that home to the hot water heater, for example. I mean, SolarEdge has a hot water heater management system that is really big in Hawaii, specifically for that reason. We're pulling the excess PV, we're heating the water with it. We're getting these load management devices, on both sides that do this stuff automatically. And we all have to get to that in terms of the design of that system. Because things like NEM3 with this modeling piece, to Spencer's point, is so complex on the back end that you need a computer to do it. And yeah, that's like right around the corner.
Love it. And I love that, Spencer, every time you get your cup of water, there's more water in it. I don't know how you're filling it up.
Do you have a troll? A house troll?
Somebody.
See, I'm like a water. I usually have actually 3 big ones of these in the morning because our house, I have 2 little girls. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And if I go out into the main room when they're there, it's like, Daddy, right? And it's like, when I go out there, I want to be able to give them everything and not be like, I have to go back to work. So I try to stock up and I got my water reserves right here.
Well, I noticed something else in the background, Spencer. Your guitar. Do you know how to play guitar?
I do know how to play guitar.
You want a little strum something real quick, or no?
I'm pretty rusty. I mean, if you offer, I don't know.
Yeah, Josh, you cool with that? He does a little strum, a little beat.
He can do it if he wants to, but put a musician on the spot.
I know that's intense.
I'm like an out of practice. I was actually here.
Yeah!
Going for it. Go on, Spencer.
Michelle, go grab your clarinet.
I know. Gosh, I'm in a hotel right now. I don't know. Pots and pans.
Thank God I didn't hang up my clarinet on the wall.
I'm way out of practice. I gave up kind of when I had kids. I stopped playing as much as I would like to, but I'll play. This is one of my favorite Dave Matthews jams. Right?
Hell yeah!
Here we go.
That's all you get.
Yeah. On the spot. That's awesome.
Worth it. I love it.
Hell yeah. So, Josh, do you mind if I go to the next segment?
Let's do it.
Are you guys ready? Okay, we've been nice. We had a fun time so far, having a nice conversation, but we're about to get our competitive juices on. So we're doing a little segment where we're going to do a little trivia on solar-related questions. We call it Solar Wars. Josh, take it away.
All right. So this is how it's going to work here. We got 5 questions each. We're going to go back and forth. Joe's going to keep score, and the winner is dubbed the Solar Wars Solar Pulse Episode 3 winner here. Are we ready, contestants Spencer and Michelle?
Yes, I'm terrible at tests. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
The first question we'll aim to Spencer here. Spencer, what is the name of the orange and white droid that is in Star Wars? Joe, you know what? I think I've...
Josh.
You said Solar Wars.
Yeah, not Star Wars.
Not a Star Wars. Yes.
I was ready. I was like, okay,
I
wait.
know, I'm like, Google.
Oh,
So why don't we
man.
just do Star Wars? Let's just do Star Wars then. If
Let's
it's
do Star Wars.
All
And
right,
that
we'll do
joke
Star
is-
Wars.
That joke's never going to get old. We've done it 3 times in a row now. All right. We're still doing it, though. Spencer, what is the name of the orange and white droid that is in Star Wars The Force Awakens and Star Wars The Last Jedi?
Ooh, the droid.
Michelle does not look very happy.
I can picture him.
I knew she knew this one.
White.
I don't know his name.
Oh,
O2D2? No. Is that even a droid?
oh, interesting. Well, Michelle, do you want to have a crack?
It's a one-letter word. I mean, it's a one word, right? And it's short. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I couldn't. Even if there was a
Okay.
gun up to my head, I couldn't do it.
We're at 0 for 0. Number 2.
Wait,
we'll
what's
go-
the answer?
You're
Because
not
it's
gonna
gonna
give
kill
the
me all day.
I'm just going to torment you guys. BB-8.
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 BB-8. Okay.
It's the droid in the new, one of the newest
I didn't
ones.
know that either. If you guys, if it makes you feel any better.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's take it down a notch. What is the name? And this is
Michelle.
Let's go, Michelle first. What is the name of Han Solo's ship?
God, see, I can't. Not even the. I don't know. I can't do it on the stress.
Spencer, you gonna take this one?
You know
I'm. Yeah, I don't.
Spencer, you're looking down at your keyboard there. I don't,
No Googling. No Googling.
Who's up?
You got to answer with your hands up.
Oh.
I was about to say stormtrooper. That's how stupid I am with
No,
this.
that's,
promise you're gonna get at least one of
Um,
these, Michelle.
the ship is. I can picture it. I just can't remember the name.
Okay.
There's so many SolarEdge nerds you could have asked this to. They're gonna kill
Good
me.
news is that it looks like only one answer is going to win today. So
We are at we're answer 3 out of 5 for everyone. Everyone's gonna get 5 questions. But if someone doesn't get it, then someone can steal. So this one's gonna go Spencer, and
Okay.
we're gonna go right down to the basics here. We're gonna get you guys some points, all right?
Please, layups.
What is the weapon used by Jedi Knights?
A lightsaber.
Boom. Ding, ding, we have our first point on the board.
Come on.
Okay.
Layup. Thanks for that layup. Woo.
Well, we'll go right down to the basics as well. Let's see.
this is Michelle.
Michelle, in the Star Wars films, what invisible power binds the galaxy together?
The Force.
Ding, ding, ding. Okay,
Okay.
we're 1 for
You're
1.
on a roll right now.
Okay.
Thanks,
okay.
Joe.
All right.
I'm
We'll
liking
take it.
this level of question. This is a good level for me.
To be honest, guys, I am currently on a quiz that says kids Star Wars questions. I can't get any more simple.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Let's take a look here. Let's go. I'm going to go half a step up here.
Okay.
This one's going to go for Spencer. So what are we, 1-1, Joe? And this is question number 4. All right.
That was the third question.
Wookie. Ewok.
Jar Jar Binks.
Luke.
Hold on. You
Yoda.
might be taking
Okay,
some
okay.
You might be
Uh,
right.
Spencer, what Wookiee is Han Solo's loyal friend and first mate?
Chewbacca.
Ding. Okay. Here we
Michelle's
go.
like, I wanted that one.
Yeah.
All right, Michelle. Let's see what I've got for you here. I have to do an equivalent.
I'm still thinking about the ship because it's in my head.
I didn't tell you. Millennium Falcon.
Oh, duh.
There you go.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to leave the more difficult ones to the last one. Michelle, we'll go. Ooh.
You should have been more prepared, Josh.
I
This wasn't my
haven't
preferred
He
call.
was
but
prepared with
I'm-
the tough questions, and then he had to
I'm
adjust.
reading some of them, and I don't have any idea. I mean, this question is simple. There's not that many answers, but you still might know it. So I think it's right in line with Spencer's. What color is Kylo Ren's lightsaber?
Ooh.
Red.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah. We are tied, everybody. 2-2. With
Okay.
2 more questions each.
2 more questions each. All right, we're doing first to 5. Okay, we're gonna get more difficult. This is for Spencer. Who is Luke and Leia's mother?
Luke and Leia's mother is Padawan.
So
She's-
close.
Padma.
Is it?
Played
You guys are
by. Can I give the actress's name?
I know.
No.
What's the actress's name?
Let's see. Padma.
Hands in the air. Hands in the air. I'm sure.
I need a final answer, Spencer.
Um. Uh,
It's on the tip of your tongue.
it starts with a P. It starts with a P-A. Yeah, Padwa. So close.
Is that your final answer?
Based on Josh's
Padme.
face,
Round it
it's
up.
wrong.
What? What is it?
Padme.
Padme. Yeah.
Padme.
Is that
Oh.
wrong? Is that an X?
That's got to be an X.
If you mumbled that on Jeopardy, you might have gotten it.
Padma.
So, well, and this question could be, Michelle, no pressure here, could be the winner though, depending on what happens next question.
Yeah.
Why did Yoda say he didn't want to train Luke Skywalker?
Because Luke was out partying, wasn't serious enough.
Oh, you wanna? I gave Spencer another crack.
No.
You're sort of. No, you don't want to crack it?
No,
Like the final
you mean
answer?
I'm sort of there? Because the Force wasn't with him. He wasn't concentrating enough.
I'll give you one more crack at it.
Isn't that like the story of every like Karate Kid's the same
I was gonna
story,
say,
like
like-
Star Wars, same story, right? He's not
Michelle-
serious about it.
I was gonna say
You
Michelle
lack
tried to book.
patience.
You got
He
that
lacks
right.
patience. Oh, because it's a famous Yoda line. I get it. I wouldn't have gotten it.
All right. I have 2 good questions here. I think they should be good. We'll see how it goes. And this
You're
is the
starting
last
out.
question, Joe, right? What's the review? What's the score?
It's 2-2 right now at the last question. If it's tied, we go down to the tiebreaker. This is
Okay.
very serious, guys.
This is for all the marbles, lady and gentlemen. Spencer, who are the masters of the dark side who want to rule the galaxy? Star Wars.
Ooh, the Masters of the Galaxy that want to, or Master of the Dark Side. Can I describe them, or I actually have to come up with a name?
There's a specific name we are looking for, Spencer.
The guy in the dark hood.
He just said you can't do it, Spencer.
Isn't he like? Isn't it? Don't they just call him Master?
So your final answer?
Master.
It is the Sith.
The Master Sith.
All right, Michelle, you have an opportunity at your hands here. Go ahead.
Which young Jedi Knight becomes Darth Vader in Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith?
Oh God.
And not the actor's name either. Okay?
No, I know. I was
you-
gonna say.
This quiz is perfect because every answer is like right on the tip of everyone's
I
brain
know.
when
Well,
they have
except
it.
that it's actually everything mulling around in my head. It's like The Dark Knight and this movie and then like Spider-Man maybe. Like maybe that's I don't I don't know. I can't do it under pressure.
Spencer, do you want to try to steal
Try
that
it.
one?
Yeah.
Definitely Padma's boyfriend. Uh,
Padme.
Obi-Wan. What? Does that count for anything? Padma's
No,
boyfriend?
no.
No.
But it's not Padma's boyfriend, right? Because that was like that's his grandma, isn't it?
No, it is. It's Padma's boyfriend.
Oh.
Remember? They
Yeah.
had. It's actually Luke's dad. Luke and Leia's dad.
Right.
Darth Vader.
But it was it the little boy that hung out
Obi-
with Jar Jar
It was.
Binks?
Oh yeah, that's helpful.
It wasn't it?
What is his name?
This
Yeah,
becomes
what was
team
his name?
effort now.
What was the little boy's name? I can't remember.
You're so close.
I'm so
Is that
close.
who
I'm
it is?
right around it. I might be able to do it if I do. Here's a crazy trick. I have a friend in New York who, piano genius, does the New York Times crossword puzzle between two subway stops. They go through the alphabet. A, B, C.
Oh, Anakin. Anakin.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, it was my answer.
Skywalker. Wait, who
You
is?
did.
I don't know.
Hey, it obviously worked for Michelle. That's a
Michelle
team
wins.
It
win.
worked.
That's a team. No, I think that was a team win. I gave her the A.
It was a
she
team
finished.
win. I mean, if we have to go to tiebreaker, that's fine. I
You
won't
can
know
use that
it.
trick, by the way, Michelle.
I obviously it works for me. I'm gonna go ahead
Obviously
and use
it does, doesn't it? I use that as well. It's pretty good.
I was already on B by the time.
You passed the A, I'm like, ooh.
We make our own rules here, and Michelle Spina wins their story.
Oh wow.
Oh.
I mean, I don't think that's right, but
Oh.
Hey, you had the answer. That's what else
Okay.
are we asking for?
All right, there we go then. Thank you for the Solar Star Wars competitors.
it wasn't solar related at all.
Uh,
It's only Star Wars.
I mean, star,
Solar system
sun, solar. Joe, you got to make these notes a bit more clear, man. I don't know why I keep making these mistakes here.
So I'm also excited that all of us here are going to be at some place in the next month. SolarCon is going to be here in 6 weeks, coming fast, and I know Spencer's going to be there, Michelle's going to be there. Really excited that you guys are going to be there. What should we expect from you guys? You guys just going to go chill, or are you guys going to do anything we should expect or know about?
SolarEdge is not chilling. SolarEdge is anything but chill at SolarCon this year because SolarCon was so good last year. We had FOMO. We weren't the cool kids on the block. So we're going to be the cool kids. We're actually filming a movie trailer with Jake on Monday. There's going to be some Mini Coopers in the trailer because it's a big action-packed movie trailer. We're going to have a big booth. We are going to have a selfie station. We're going to have limited edition t-shirts. Nobody knows this yet. But of course I'll say this on this. And then we might be giving away a big raffle prize.
What? I'm excited here. I know, Spencer, you're making sure you're getting there and bringing a couple of buddies. I know you were there last year. What anything to expect from you? And tell us your thoughts.
Can't quite claim the same marketing commitment that Michelle just communicated, but I will say that my first year at SolarCon was the best solar conference I've been to in my 18 years in the industry by far.
Ooh, I love to hear.
And I immediately shared with everyone from the CEO of a big company that's actually sponsoring this year, who's going to be in full force. One of my account that I really appreciate supporting, Power. So I'm going to be kind of meeting with my favorite people from that organization. We're going to definitely have a handful of Enphase key team members who are showing up. And yeah, I'm really excited. I may participate in some kind of panel. We'll see. But ultimately, this is an event about new ideas, breakthrough conversations that drive the solar industry forward. And it's an event that I'm excited about personally. I just I'm a total advocate for the industry. I think this is phenomenal for the industry. Excited to be there. And yeah, I'm going to be basically like doing a lot of networking, having a lot of conversations, connecting, and talking about where we want to go as an industry. So super excited to be there. It's going to be a great event. I don't even know what's in store because last year was such a surprise. The bar is high, but I trust that the team is going to deliver, and I think the energy there this year is going to be even more electric.
Didn't mean to put you guys on the spot, but just really excited that you guys are going to be there. And everybody watching, if you guys want to meet, hang out with Spencer Rosen and Michelle Spina, this is the place to be. Josh, what do you got next?
That's it. That's fun. I mean, everyone come to this, see you guys in the VSC booth as well at SolarCon. And I agree.
Yeah.
Last year was, again, 10 years in the industry, all the different boring, blah, 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 stuff going on, different random brackets over here that I'm not really interested in. SolarCon brings together the sales guys, which I really like about it. And I'm not on the SolarCon team. I like to remind everybody. I just love it. It's fun. So that's going to be cool.
Appreciate you, though, Josh.
Awesome. Cool. Well, let's wrap things up. Thanks very much, guys, for coming. How about we give you each, I don't know if, sometimes we have influencers on here. Sometimes we have, you guys have anything to shout out? Any upcoming stuff that's going on with you guys or with SolarEdge or Enphase? Michelle, want to start things off?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one thing I would say is if you're not a part of SolarEdge Sales Elite, it's a good thing to be a part of. It's a network we have at SolarEdge where you can connect with us directly and we can answer your questions. I know you have a lot of pressing homeowner questions come up. We also have interactive training sessions as a part of that. Swag that's branded SolarEdge Sales Elite. That was a part of the big training I did today. Was 100 reps in person doing a bunch of training just on selling. Definitely become a part of that. You can find it if you just Google SolarEdge Sales Elite. It's the first thing that comes up. And we also have a Facebook group for Sales Elite that is kind of my bat signal. So if I hear a chime on the Facebook, I know that there's a sales rep in immediate need. So I jump right to that. So you can use that to message me directly, and I prioritize those questions.
That's great. What about yourself, Spencer?
Awesome. I think for anybody that's in this industry, I just want to say it's fun to be a part of an industry that is not just about being personally, financially successful, right? Because people usually work to make money for their families and their lifestyles, but to have chosen something where you're part of making a bigger difference for the future and creating a sustainable world, it's my honor to be in the same industry as you. So first I want to just kind of give a shout out to all the solar leaders out there. And then from an Enphase standpoint, I just want to thank all our customers for being the reason Enphase is in business, right? We wouldn't exist without our installers, and we really think of ourselves as partners with our installers, and we want to support you being successful. A few resources that can help with that. Enphase University has really built out a pretty extraordinary curriculum. Solar installation, solar sales, storage installation, storage sales, storage design. I mean, there's really a very, very comprehensive curriculum, and it's not just about our products. It's actually about how to sell, how to install, how to design. So I encourage you to use that free platform to develop yourself, keep learning, keep growing. Also, always know that Enphase's, support in Boise, Idaho, or we have an incredible growing field service technician team of over 80 people in the field that are supporting, making sure customers have a great experience. Please, think of us as somebody who really is committed to the customer experience. And trying to think what else to close with here, and just look out for some really exciting new innovations that we're bringing to market this year, from EV charging to our next generation storage technology, to other kind of cool things that I can't even start talking about. We are really, really focusing on innovating so that you have the best tools and the most fun, providing solutions for your customers. And it's fun. It's super fun. And hopefully I'll see you at SolarCon.
Awesome.
I just want to say thank you both for being on here. It was really exciting for me to have both you guys on here. And this show kind of shows the solar industry, like even some of the top competitors in the solar industry, SolarEdge and Enphase. We're on here talking and getting to know each other better and collaborating and helping each other as opposed to being at each other's throats. And I really appreciate that. And you didn't have to be on here. You guys did, and you were both excited to be on. So I just want to say thank you with all my heart. Okay, I appreciate you guys.
Awesome,
Thanks
Joe.
for having us.
Thanks very
Nice to
much,
see you,
guys.
Joe. Thanks, Joe.
Everyone
Thanks, Spencer.
watching, thanks for joining. Hope you had a good time watching and spending time with us. See ya.
Okay.
Bye.
Later.
Okay.
What an awesome show that was. Really appreciate representatives from SolarEdge and Enphase willing to get on. Michelle Spina and Spencer Rosen. What an awesome show. Knowledgeable people and really brought some insights that was really needed. So really appreciate you guys. So what do you think, Josh?
You guys know us. We'll catch you later. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Comment, like, subscribe, follow, whatever you got to do on any platform. Let us know who you want to see next. The most craziest guest you could possibly imagine. We might be able to put it together. Who knows? All right. I'll see you
Let
guys
us know
next
what you think. Let's go.